I don't know if you've ever imagined what it might be like to be in heaven, but I think this is as close as it gets. We're here and dawn is breaking on the top of Jizu mountain at Jinding Temple, and I think, as you can see around us, this is perhaps why it's one of the most sacred sites in the Buddhist world. Hi and welcome to Travelogue. I'm Katrina Yu.
我们2点钟爬上来就。
晚上来的还是早上爬到山上来的？
晚上来的。晚上
就开始爬了。几点开始爬山呀
？2点半。是啊。
这边是不是香火特别旺，特别灵啊？
啊，是啊。
那许愿了吗？啊？许愿了吗？
太阳出来了就许愿嘛。
太阳出来就许愿是吧？哦，好的好的，谢谢你们啊。
I feel and look tired after our 5 a.m. start. But that's nothing compared to the journey these pilgrims began at 2:30. But then, the moment we were all waiting for. After waiting patiently in the freezing cold and quietly on top of this temple, all of a sudden these pilgrims have come to life and you can really see the excitement, all because the sun has finally risen and they're taking photos and waving incense around and it smells beautiful, and just look at the view. It's an amazing thing. Have you ever seen something that was so surreal that you had to keep on reminding yourself that you were awake and not dreaming? That's what watching the sunrise from Jizu Mountain feels like, and it's one of the reasons why so many make the trek up here to see it. Jizu Mountain is located in Binchuan County, in Dali's northwest. The name Jizu literally means chicken foot, and it's called this because the bottom of the mountain range is shaped like a cock's claw. But while its title seems pretty mundane, its reputation certainly isn't. Jizu is one of China's 5 Buddhist holy mountains, and Jinding, one of its most famous temples, sitting on the mountain's highest peak. For almost 1,300 years, pilgrims have been coming to this so-called golden summit to make offerings, pray, and meditate. But you don't have to be a follower of Buddhism to appreciate its significance. Oh, the sun on my skin feels so good, and now my fingers are starting to get their feeling back. Earlier, they were going really numb. See, the thing is, we had to leave a lot of our luggage, including my gloves, at the bottom of the mountain. We drove up the hill, and then we had to stop and take a chairlift, so we could only bring what we could carry. After we took the chairlift up, we took what seemed like hundreds of steps, and then more steps to get to Jinding Temple, and it just makes me think, pilgrims have been coming to this site for hundreds of years. I can only imagine the hardship and the trouble they must have taken to get here, to get to this beautiful spot, but they really would have been rewarded. There are different forms of Buddhism, and Jizu Mountain embraces all sects, including Tibetan Buddhism. It's considered one of the 3 sacred places that pilgrims should travel to in order to be spiritually qualified. Many Tibetan devotees make their way to Jizu Mountain at least once in their lifetime. While we're here, they're the most prominent group of pilgrims we meet. The men tell me they've come all the way from Sichuan province, northwest of Yunnan. Now we're leaving Jinding Temple, which is more than 3,000 meters above ground, and heading downhill to see if we can meet a very holy monk. We take a path covered with prayer flags. They represent peace, compassion, strength, and wisdom. It's believed that as the wind blows through them, it blesses the land, spreading these virtues with it. I hear our next destination before I see it. When we arrive, I look at the faces of the men chanting, wondering if any of them is the monk we've been told about. Well, we've been asking a few locals, and it turns out that the holy monk we were searching for is in fact not here. So his whereabouts remain a bit of a mystery, but we have stumbled across an extremely holy place. This is Huashomen, and it's considered one of the gates of Buddhism, and pilgrims have been coming here for generations because this was the place where one of Buddha's 10 disciples came himself. You know, one of the things that I love about this place is the sounds of the mountain. It's these prayers that the monks are chanting. It's the sound of the bells and the drums, and it's also the sound of the flapping of these Tibetan prayers against the wind. It's not silent, but at the same time, it's very calming. We continue our journey downwards, asking directions along the way. Now we're heading to have lunch all the way at the bottom of these stairs, and look, don't you think we're gonna deserve it after that hike down? I'm just glad we had a chairlift to take us up, but I have nothing to complain about. I only have a backpack to carry, unlike a camera who's got some heavy gear. And for the record, I did offer to help carry some things. Anyway, after a hearty meal, we're all ready for more exploring, and thankfully, this time on flatter ground. Our next stop makes quite an impression. More than 1,000 years ago, there were hundreds of temples that littered Jizu mountain. Today, there are only about 20 left. But you don't have to go all the way to the top of the mountain to find that peace of serenity. This temple caught our eye halfway down the hill, and it's called Jizu, which roughly translates as celebrating the holy. Now, the story of this temple is that there was a monk who lived to be more than 100 years old, and his students went all over Southeast Asia. And to this day, they still return to pay tribute to him and to this place. Jizu Temple was built during the Ming Dynasty. It's the biggest and one of the most well-preserved on Jizu Mountain. In the 1980s, it was listed as a major cultural relic and is a protected site. I love the rich smell of the incense. Now, pilgrims have been coming to Buddhist temples like these for generations and offering burning incense sticks as a part of their prayers and to pay respect to the place and to Buddha. Now, because of all the temples that once littered Jizu Mountain, it got this reputation as being a scented wonderland, and with this rich smell, it's little wonder why. I don't know what it would have been like those hundreds of years ago, but just smelling this now, I can close my eyes and really get a sense of what it might have been like. As well as ancient buildings, you can also visit modern temples currently being developed. I think these sacred sites of both past and present will ensure that Jizu Mountain is a place of peace and prayer for many more years to come. Coming up on Travelogue, I meet a man who has the art of silver running in his veins, get a taste of the life-giving water of Xinhua village, and feast on the 8 bold dishes that make up a Bai banquet. Touching heaven from one of China's most sacred mountains, getting schooled by a master silver maker, and meandering through an ancient market. It's all in this episode of Travelogue. We'll explore the outskirts of Dali in Yunnan, hiking Jizu Mountain's holy paths, shopping in Xinhua, and soaking in the sun and history of Shaxi. From the mountain to the valley, we venture northwards to a place known not only for its beautiful setting, but also for its beautiful products. We're here in Heqing County in Xinhua village, an ancient Bai village, nice quiet village, except for the sound of every home, every family busily creating their craft. This village is known for handicrafts which have been handed down from generation to generation, and it seems like it's a tradition that will continue for generations to come. The first thing I notice is that everyone in Xinhua village seems to be busily working away at something. Being the curious sort of person that I am, I wander over to this group of women and ask them what exactly it is they're working on. 你们好，你们在干什么？我们在木头拍。好，好看啊，可以看看吗？可以。As you can see, the Xinhua village is famous for its silver craft, and silver jewelry is included. So this is a beautiful silver bracelet that they're polishing, and they're actually using a special kind of jade. 可以看看吗？这个？可以。谢谢。They're using a special kind of jade to polish it off, and nothing else can be used on this bracelet, otherwise it will be ruined. 谢谢。There are more than 100 types of Bai silverware produced in Heqing County. Many are exported far beyond China to countries such as India, Thailand, and even America. We decide to pay a visit to one workshop that's particularly old and just as famous. Here, young apprentices concentrate on making much more than just a lot of noise. They're busy molding silver into stunning shapes and patterns. Some of it seems like impossibly intricate work. It clearly takes incredible skill and a lot of time to create each object. I asked to speak to their teacher and boss, Sun Guangwei. He tells me that this courtyard house is home to both a booming business and a busy family. And it seems that silver runs in his blood.
这个是我们一个家庭作坊，然后就是从爷爷、爸爸、哥哥这样一代一代传下来，然后现在我们做了已经，我做了21年。
Fewer and fewer people practice the craft today, choosing instead to move to the city and find more contemporary work. But Sun Guangwei's products are still in high demand. He says it's because he makes sure his silverware is not only pleasing to look at, but also useful to have.
然后以前做的都是传统的一些图案或者一些器型，做的基本上都是少数民族地区用的一些东西嘛。现在我们年轻一些的就把现代的时尚元素这些都融入进去，把它做成现代的一些工艺品，然后就把以前的传统的和现代的又结合在一起。
But of course, if you are in the market for something purely antique or decorative, then Xinhua has no shortage of shops to choose from. Every street corner in the village seems to have a store guaranteed to sell something striking and shiny to suit all tastes. All tastes, including mine, it seems. You know, I've never been a huge fan of jewelry, but after learning about the history and about really the hard work and that goes into these beautiful things, how come I think I might be changing my mind a little. 有烧的耳环吗？
小的有。
有，可以看看吗？
可以。
Maybe I'll buy some earrings. Maybe not this big. Maybe little ones. This is more my size, I think, something a bit more subtle. The only thing that I have so far as jewelry is this necklace that my parents gave me that has my name on it, you know, so I stop forgetting what it is. 很多的。这个。有镜子吗？有。好，谢谢。 好看吗？
好看。
Of course, I was just joking about forgetting my name. I'd never do that. Really. But you know, being in a place as charming and tranquil as this, you'd be forgiven for forgetting other things like the day of the week or time of day. Life is simple here. It's about being self-sufficient, relying on the elements. And other than silver, I soon find out that there's another element this area is renowned for. One of the things that Xinhua village is famous for is its water. In fact, every home in the village is said to have its own water spring, just like this one. And if you come over here, have a look at this. This is a copy of the certificate from the local government saying that this water is in fact clean enough to drink directly. So should I give it a go? I think I should. Okay. Cheers. Very cool and very fresh. Hear that? It's not my stomach rumbling. Well, not just my stomach, but the sound of badawan being cooked. Translated from Chinese, it means 8 big bowls. It's a customary Bai banquet prepared for special occasions and guests. The meal is designed to be light and nutritious, as well as showcase the Bai preference for sour and spicy flavors. A variety of locally produced vegetables, mushrooms, and meats are used, each prepared in different ways, some steamed or fried, others boiled. Together, it makes for a very colorful and inviting table. Now, Young has just been explaining to me what is in front of us. Look at this delicious looking feast. Okay, first things first, let's explain how the table is set. It's set in a very traditional way. So you've got the chopsticks here, bowls, and we've got 3 alcoholic drinks and another drink for those who don't drink alcohol. And of course, you've got these 8 beautiful looking dishes. Now, we've got most of these are different types of pork. This curious combination is some local flour called baihe with some meat, some bamboo dish, some mushroom, and the rest is pork. And this beautiful centerpiece here is some different pieces of pork with duck egg on top of noodles. Oh, and some peanuts. We've got the 8 bowls, and all we needed is the 8 guests. And they aren't exactly hard to find, especially when traveling with a very hard-working and hungry TV crew. Make that a hard-working and happy TV crew. As the day winds down, we make our way to the outskirts of Heqin County, to its famous Caohai Marsh. It's the perfect place to sit down, rest, and reflect on what we've seen so far. I can't remember the last time I've been somewhere that's so still. Except for a few fishermen, there's hardly anyone else around. But don't be fooled by the lack of people. This area is teeming with life. It's a treasure trove for wildlife watchers and a sanctuary for many different species of birds. I guess even feathered creatures need some time out once in a while. I certainly do. Sitting here in this beautiful spot with the water and the vast mountains sort of reflected in the stillness of it all, you really get a sense of why that lifestyle of the people who live in Heqin County and the surrounding villages is so calm and so still. It sort of reflects the stillness of the land. And I also get a sense of how blessed they are with the water here. The people who live around these marshy, wetland kind of areas are really reliant on this water, as well as the people who live like in the Xinhua village that we visited yesterday, are blessed and really work with the water to get their livelihood as well. And it's a really fascinating thing. Up next on Travelogue, the perfect balance of tradition and tourism in Shaxi. I'll take you through the colourful chaos of an age-old market and dare you not to fall in love with this misty sunrise. There are very few things that will get me out of bed before dawn. But to watch the sunrise over this misty river, I would do so 100 times. I'm sure if you were with me on this bridge, you'd agree. Well, good morning from the ancient town of Shaxi. This is one of the few well-preserved ancient market towns. Now, it used to be a very important stop on the tea and horse trail. Today, there are so many new bars and hostels and cafes that have opened, and many tourists come to this place. Now, we're going to head to the market and see what it's like ourselves. There's no shortage of historic sites in China, but there's truly nowhere else like Shaxi. It's the country's most complete surviving example of a tea and horse trail trade station. Centuries later, the caravans are gone, but bustling trade remains. I think these must be a favorite with the kids. Look at all the different colors of the packets. You don't quite know what's inside, but then again, you don't really care. You just know it's going to be sweet and it's going to taste good. But just because something isn't colorful doesn't mean it's not worth trying. 好啊，这个是叮叮糖吗？谢谢。This is ding ding candy, and it's very popular with children. It's hard and it's nice to suck on and very sweet. Now, more than a dozen years ago, what the children used to do is they used to collect old toothpaste containers, the aluminium, and they used to take them and give them to the ding ding tang vendors, and swap them for pieces of candy. Pretty good exchange, I think. Every Friday, people from the surrounding villages come to Shaxi's market to buy things they need, buy things to feed, and, well, other fun items. Some really cute things here as well. Look at this! That little boy might have been partial to K-pop, but I imagine most people here prefer their music to be much like their lives, slow in rhythm and simple, but no less colorful and lively. This marketplace is amazing. There's so many weird and wonderful things around me. I find myself asking myself, ooh, what's that? What's that? Some things are familiar, like apples or fruits, and other things I have no idea if it's a food, if it's a medicine or what, but it's fantastic, so many different smells, and I really love the energy of this place. There's so many colors and there's so many types of people. There's so much to explore. And I'm not the only traveler who thinks so. Hi, so we're here with two visitors to the city of Shaxi. I'm Katrina, thank you for talking to us with Travelogue. Can I get you to tell us where you're from and who you are?
My name's Deb, and I live in Chengdu.
Chengdu? Oh, great.
Hi, my name's Karen. I'm from the US, but I live in Beijing.
Oh, you live in Beijing. Great. So why did you choose to come to this city, and what are your impressions so far?
Well, we are traveling around Yunnan. We decided to come to Dali. And Dali seems to be too touristy for us, so we headed north and came to Shaxi, and love it so far.
You're both familiar with China, living in Beijing and Chengdu yourselves. What do you think makes this place different to the rest of China, or very distinct, do you think?
The scenery is fabulous, and there's beautiful scenery elsewhere in China, but here is particularly nice, and the air is wonderful after the city.
I second that. There's very little pollution here, and you really can breathe. It's also extremely colorful. And that makes a big difference. A lot of the other cities, we love Beijing, love Shanghai, love lots of cities in China, but here it's so colorful compared to those cities. And the traditions are front and center, where you don't find that in the other cities. You have to look for them in the other cities. Here, they're right there.
This is the main square of the town of Shaxi. You can tell because behind me is the temple and in front of me is this wonderful old stage. Now this is still the center of life in the town today. In fact, the many Bai peoples come here whenever there's a major event such as a wedding or a funeral. They come here en masse, filling up this square completely and have a major big meal, and it's like the whole town gets involved. Shaxi's successfully maintained culture is more than a matter of luck. The local government is working with the Swiss Conservation Fund to ensure the town is restored as authentically as possible. So, where do you come from?
So she comes from America and I come from France.
You come from France and America, and you're traveling around China?
We live in Kunming, but we travel around Yunnan a lot.
Okay, great. So what brought you to Shaxi?
I'd heard a lot of friends who live in Kunming who had mentioned it a lot. They said it was a lovely place, sort of it's got an old town vibe, but not as developed as Dali or Lijiang and other places, so I wanted to come.
And what do you think of it?
I like it very much. Well, that is the second time I come, in fact. It's very well preserved. It's really beautiful. The market is great also.
By early afternoon, the market has packed up and it's time to head inside for a siesta. This is a quiet alleyway on the way to our hotel, and I just noticed all these markings on this particular wall. Just people leaving their initials and saying they love whoever they love. And I was just thinking, it's like they want to make their mark on this town and sort of leave a legacy in a town that hopefully will last forever. I love Travelogue. Maybe time hasn't completely stopped in Shaxi, but here it certainly feels like it moves a whole lot slower. Slow enough to really savor that cup of coffee or soak in the sunshine. It's so nice to finally come to the town of Shaxi, especially after such a hectic schedule going from place to place. This truly is a peaceful town, and it's the perfect place to reflect and to relax. I think that's what I love about this town. It gets that balance right. There's lots for tourists to come and see and do, but the locals, their lives aren't interrupted. They can live genuine, traditional lives, and that makes for a much better environment for both the locals and the tourists.